Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays for you in the American Tier 6 Premium Light Tank, the Rover 237. Now this is a pretty damn fun light tank. It's absolutely fantastic. It's basically the T37 but as a premium tank, and actually slightly better because it's like the old T37 before they changed the light tanks to go up to tier 10, and then they sort of nerfed most of the light tanks because they didn't have to C+3 anymore. So yeah, this is basically the old school T37, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. It looks cool, it sounds cool, although you're not hearing it in this first replay, because for some reason, when I record games through the Xbox record system on my Series S, sometimes I have to play on the Series S, and when I'm away and stuff like that, and sometimes it just decides, you know what, I'm not going to record the audio. Thank you for that, Series S. You're very kind. And so, yeah, this first replay doesn't have any sound whatsoever. But yeah, the Rover 237 is a hell of a lot of fun. It's quick. It's got pretty damn nice gun. It's got a pretty damn good reload. It's got good view range. It does everything so well. It's just such a good light tank. It's probably better than most of the light tanks at Tier 6 as well, in general. It's a very good tank and a hell of a lot of fun. If you ever get the chance to pick up this tank, I would always suggest picking up the Rover because you can have a lot of fun with it. And you can have a really great time. And yeah, it did actually receive a buff as well, like all the other low tier tanks. And that is that its HP got buffed from 600, like you're seeing in this replay, to 740. Now, these first 2 replays, and in fact, these first 2 replays are from quite a while ago. This is one that's been sitting in the vault, as I call it, for a wee while. And yeah, you're finally seeing these first 2 replays. The third replay is from relatively not that long ago, but it's just before the low tier HP buffs as well. But they're still all 3 pretty damn nice games. And it just shows off what this Rover is capable of. It's just an absolutely fantastic tank. I do take 30 and 30 in terms of the ammo, because it tended to be a case of I ran out of ammo quite often. You only have 130 pen on the standard rounds and 160 pen on the premium, which means that you are going to need quite a bit of premium when you come into those tier 8 games. And like I say, as you can see, the amount of shots we've fired already, we're only down to, nearly 10 rounds of AP left. That happens a lot, and if you're in a tier 8 game and you're having to fire a fair bit of premium to be able to make them, to be able to even pen anything, you're going to run out of ammo very quickly. So you want to take an even split of ammo so that you're covered for, your bases are covered for whatever the matchmaking that you are in. And yeah, the tank will probably run out of ammo a lot more these days as well, since they're low tier HP buff, because there's a lot more HP in these games where you will, end up using all of your ammo. In terms of a crew on the Rover, what is that drive? Excuse me? That wheelie boy. What? Okay. What do you, bro? Jesus. We got Tony Hawk Pro Skater over here in his wheelie boy. What was I saying? I don't know. What were we even talking about? I don't even know. The crew skills. Yeah, the crew skills. We do run on this light tank. Something that I tend to run on a lot of the low tier light tanks, and most light tanks in general these days. I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun. I run the 3 gun perks to make sure this gun is as good as possible so I can fire on the move and keep hitting these shots on the move like you've just seen me do there. The camo expertise and the muffled shot to make sure that this camo on this tank is as good as it humanly can be, and therefore I can do my spotter's job and I can, get passive spotting and stuff like that, or I can just stay unspotted while on the move and things too. I mean, realistically, if you don't have faith in muffled shot, you can get rid of that and put something like, I don't know, marked target on so that you keep things spotted for an extra 3 seconds, or you could run something like rapid aim to make the turret traverse even better, clutch braking to make the track traverse even better so you can feel really nimble. It's really down to you, however you want to set the tank up. These are just like templates really for your faces that you can set up for the first time in playing the tank, and then you can go, you know what, I want to make that better, so you can change it out and stuff like that. And in terms of equipment, I run the camo net, vertical stabilizers, and optics. I run optics again to make my view range as good as possible, vertical stabilizers to make the gun handling as good as it can be, and camonet to make my camo fantastic. I don't run an advanced loader because I think the DPM is good enough, and it was always good enough before 6.0 for me, realistically, so I don't run the rammer. And as you can see, in that game, we finished with the Scooches, the Ace Tanker, the Radley Walters, the Devastator, the High Caliber, the Top Gun, 2.2k base XP with the 9 kills and 3.1k damage. A pretty damn nice game for the Rover 237. And it's always nice to get that 8 kill mark. Shame we couldn't get another kill in there to pick up that pools, but hey ho, you can't have everything right. And when you get to see wheelie boys go flying with random physics, you just gotta love it. Just gotta love it. And we're on to the second replay. In the second replay, we are on this map, which is steps, and we've got the wonky spawns of steps. So we've got the good spawn as well. We've got the good spawn, and that means we are going to push very aggressively to G9. Because that way we can cut out anyone that's crossing the J line, we can spot them up before they get across that open gap, and we can start farming in the damage to them. And basically, from this position, you completely cut off any attack that happens up that J line. You just completely destroy their flank, which is why the spawns are a little bit unbalanced, because yeah, one tank being in one position shouldn't be able to just destroy an entire flank. But you do also have to be aware that if your team doesn't take the BC line, or at least attempt to fight it, that if you do take that position at G8, you will basically end up having a problem where you get shot in the ass and it doesn't go very, very well at all. So as you can see, we actually haven't really got any support. No, the thing that doesn't happen very often has happened, and that is nobody's really come up the 9 line. So we're now just doing light tank things. We're just going to run around like a lunatic and see if we can abuse these poor little tier 5s and 6s. And this Stug is suffering from notorititis, and we get rid of him. We've now got our opposition rover on the enemy team chasing after us. And by the way, you can really tell this replay was from quite a while ago, just from the UI. And yeah, we just want to get rid of this rover because he is the danger to us. Because, well, he's in a rover. We know how good that tank is as soon as we're in it, and it's not going to go well if we let that guy feast on us. So yeah, we're just going to keep running around like a lunatic, keep things lit, and try and keep getting the damage. And on that equipment setup, by the way, yeah, just to keep explaining because the game did end, I don't run the rammer because I felt like, well, the reload was always really, really good before 6.0, and I was always happy with the reload the way it was. And that was when I was running a rammer, right? And I thought, you know what? If I'm always happy with how quick it reloads, 3 seconds is good enough. I mean, I know I could make it better with another rammer, because obviously we have the rapid reload perk these days. But I decided, you know what, no, you know what, if I was happy with it, I'm going to make other things better about tanks. So we're going to make the gun handling better, we're going to make the view range as good as possible, because we're a light tank, we want to spot. And, you know what, I'm going to make the camo better, and get it down to a decent level. But realistically, if you wanted to, you could also run something like the traction system instead of camo, or vertical stabilizers if you weren't that bothered about shooting on the move accurately or not. And you could get yourself up to like 77 kilometers an hour too, which would be pretty handy, and also improves your track traverse. But it's templates. It's down to you. It's down to how you want to set the tank up. I felt like 70 kilometers an hour was quick enough, and I could create madness with it. And also, I could buff up my camo and stay on spotter for longer in those higher tier games where I do want to stay on spotter for longer because I will die very, very quickly. But anyway, yeah, so far in this game, we are up to 1,565 damage, and we're just in a position where we can farm this Lozers M4A2. You don't see that tank very often. And unfortunately, he gets away. We're now trying to get shots into this Crummy Knight that's running around our heavy tank, and unfortunately, we're shooting really, really quite badly. Just hoping we can get the shot into him. There we go. We finally get one in. Hopefully we can shut him down if he drives out in front of us, but he does end up going into the low ground. The game currently is not looking very good. It is 5-7. And unfortunately, that shell on the Crummy Knight misses. That one's a badly aimed shot. The KV-1S drives out, and that was awful. You can see the little wiggle of frustration going, come on, man, shoot better, you moron. Unfortunately, that one's just RNG. It ends up missing. We do get the shot into the cupola of that KV-1S, though. The cap siren goes off, which warns us that there is someone towards our cap, so we've got to be wary that something's going to come up towards our rear in a minute. The Leopard shuts down the Knight, and we're just watching this KV-1S. I'm thinking, right, okay, you know what? it's 6-5. The game is on a knife's edge at the minute. Let's just go in on this KV-1S with our Leopard and just get rid of it. It's not got the derp gun, so it's not going to kill me in one shot. So there we go. He's actually ended up driven up in a really bad position for him. We get round this KV-1S. Unfortunately, we ricochet off his ass, which is not a good time. We put him down to a one-shot. Please don't hit me. We end up doing any track damage, but we do manage to shut down the KV-1S. Thankfully, he ended up missing us. There's 4 tanks left on the enemy team. We know where there's one now. It's in the cap. And the Su-85 gets spotted up behind us. It's like, hello, Mr. Su-85. Let me see if I can get some juicy shots into you. We spot the AC-4 experimental as well. This Su-85 is definitely in no man's land. It's not a good place for him. We do manage to shut him down on the move. We try and get a shot on the move again into the Lozers M4A2, but unfortunately we ricochet off that tank, which is quite rare. But it's like, okay, let's go after this tank in the cap with a Leopard. He is capping. If we get rid of that guy, we don't have to worry about what's behind us. We can just get rid of the boggy bogger and deal with what is behind us now, because technically the boggy bogger was behind us. But yeah, we can go get rid of this boggy bogger and then turn to deal with the other guys. So we're going to start shooting the turret of the boggy bogger. If you are dealing with a KV-222 or a boggertier like this, shoot the turret. The turret is the weak spot of the boggertier. It's very, very weak. The hull is the strength of the boggertier because it's a KV-3 hull, which means it's a tier 7 hull at tier 5. But the turret is the stock KV-1 turret, which is exceptionally weak, and that is where you want to shoot it. You want to shoot it to the left and right of the gun mantler, or just in the side or rear of that turret, and you will take down the boggertier. It's very, very awkward at low tiers as well, because a lot of the guns are not accurate enough to do that, but it's just what you have to do to get rid of it. So thankfully we managed to get rid of that M4A2 Loser Sherman without taking any hits. We're up to 3.1k damage. There's only one tank left. It's the AC-4 experimental. He is full health though, which makes this very, very awkward. He shuts down the Death Toaster, and yeah, we've only got 11 rounds of APCR left as well, which means we have to be careful with our round choices. But we're just going to go in on this guy. We're going to go in on this guy, see if we can get around him, try and circle him, make it as hard as possible for him to shoot us. But he ends up taking the unwise route, is the way I'd probably describe it. He ends up driving out in front of all of our guns, and unfortunately we can't quite get there to shut down the AC-4 experimental. We finished the game with 3.2k damage. The victory, 8 kills, 808 assistance. Obviously this was before ribbons, so we couldn't tell how many kills we were getting. The Radley Walters, Devastator, the Ranger Medal, High Caliber and Top Gun. The Ranger Medal's for killing all light tanks in the game, at least 3. And 2.1k base XP. A pretty damn nice game for the Rover. Again, showing what it can do. And we're into the third and the final replay of the game, or of the video, really, not the game. And we're on Siegfried Line. And on Siegfried Line, we're in a light tank. We're going to play the field, because that's just what we're going to do. Because the field is a really good position. It's a really good place for a light tank. It's big, it's open. You can use your mobility to good effect. You can spot the enemy team, hopefully get assistance. And then, if no one really contests the field, you can start getting flanking fire into the enemy team. So as you can see, I'm pushing very aggressively down the 4 line, and I'm going to basically push straight across, see if we can spot anyone crossing in the open, and then go to the ridge that's at F2 to get safe. We do spot this OI experimental crossing in the open, and we do get 1 or 2 shots into him. We end up spotting the Absolution, which is also camping at C6. And we're just going to see if we can get a shot into his lower plate when he exposes it. We do manage to get the shot in there, which is nice. Try and get a shot into the side of his turret, but it doesn't go in. And we're not getting spotted for this. Again, this is how good the camo is on the Rover when you set it up with the, with the camo perks and a camo net. Especially at this tier, it starts to be a struggle for the enemy tanks to spot you. Unfortunately, we end up losing 2 tanks very, very quickly, but we are going to push ourselves into a position where we can flank and spank. We spot a Stern VK that is, I don't even think we spotted him there. I think he ends up getting spotted by guys at F6. But we end up spotting an SU-100. What I want to do is get into the corner at A1, because there is a little dip where I can get hull down. I say hull down in a light tank, but I can basically get safe. This little dip here, I can now stay safe from the enemy team here and keep poking up every now and then and getting some shots into them. We reload the premium so that we can pen this OI experimental, because frontally that thing has 125 frontal armor, And we only have 130 pen, which means we're a little over a 50-50 chance to actually pen it with our standard rounds, which we're not leaving that down to RNG. We're just going to put the premium in so that we can pen it. As you can see, we are now unspotted. We light up the SU-100. I'm just trying to light them up because my team was starting to put fire in. And it's like, okay, you know what? We're just going to get some shots into this OI Experimental. We shoot at the OI Experimental. We're not hitting the OI Experimental, we're penning something else. The Jackson was actually up the butt of the OI Experimental, and we ended up managing to take most of his hit points. And there goes the Jackson. The SU-100 is looking at us. I don't want to take a big clap from this SU-100 because that is not going to be a good time. But we do have the back of the OI Experimental's turret. So we're trying to get some shots into the rear of his turret, but he ends up moving out. And in fact, he's actually done the best thing for me, and that is he's just driven out in the open. So we actually have his rear now. We don't need the premium anymore. We've got the standard AP going in straight into the back of the OI Experimental, who is fully on the run. And I'm really hoping this SU-100 gets shut down because obviously he has high alpha. I don't want to lose 390 health at this point. It was even more detrimental before the HP buffs. It's not as bad since he got the HP buffs on the low tiers, but at this point with only 600 HP, yeah, that's like 3/4 of my health. And that'll put me down to like, yeah, 200 damage, which anything could shut me down at that point. We don't want that. So this SU-100 is very, very locked into us. At the minute, this game is not looking good. It is 11-7 so far. And we're just going to try and move up on this SU-100, spot him up. We end up lighting him up as we're coming over. It's like, oh, God. Awkward timing, awkward timing. But he takes a big clap, puts him down to a one-shot. We come over and we shut him down. I was just hoping to bamboozle him with the unexpected, and that is exactly what happened. We end up coming across this jumbo Burt, this FE304, just the Burt. And as you can see again, this was before Artillery 2.0, so yeah, he had less health. We get rid of that artillery. He was AFK, so he wasn't really doing anything, which is fine. And we're just getting ourselves into a flanking position, because again, it's 9-5. It's not going well. This game is down the pan very, very quickly. We end up finding the Hellcat 105, which is a dangerous tank, but it has pretty awful turret traverse, and when it gets singled out by a light tank like this, it's not a good time for a Hellcat 105. So we get up behind it, we're just going to keep pummeling the shots in. Unfortunately, we low roll, so we don't quite get the chance to kill him with that last shot, but we do shut down the Hellcat 105. We can see where most of the enemy team is. We find the OI Experimental, who is just not looking at us whatsoever. It's like, well, okay, good night, Mr. OI Experimental. And now we're going to try and get some shots into these heavy tanks that are at F5. There is a T-150, which is deadly. We don't want to get shot by that, because again, that's a lot of alpha. This Panzer III-4, though, is a one-shot for us, although that is dreadful shooting and driving. We do manage to get rid of him, though, and, oh, thankfully, we bounced the T-150. Actually, that T-150 is very, very stock. He's got the 57mm, which means he fires very, very quickly, which is probably just as deadly as the 107mm, because he fires so fast. But thankfully, he got set on fire. We're just wiggling to make it hard for him, and, yeah, thankfully, he ends up missing all of his shots and not managing to kill us. We've managed to turn this game around quite quickly. It's 4-3. We're still down some tanks there. We are spotting these guys. Now we come across this KV-1S, which we set on fire. Beautiful scenes. Now there's just the VK3002M in front of us in the field. We are spotting them again for our medium tank and heavy tank. Hopefully they can start putting fire in. Watch our ammo count. Our ammo count is down low. We have 9 rounds left. And this 3002M is starting to put shots into us. Wow, we ricochet that shot. We really don't need to bounce shots here. We spot the KV-85 above us as we're moving in. Now the 3002M has actually moved into a more advantageous position for me to start shooting at. We do bleed a little bit more hit points. And I'm just watching that KV-85 because I was expecting to try and dive off and get a shot at us. Unfortunately, we bounced the shot on the side of that VK3002M, but we do get to shut him down. Really awkward now. We only have 2 rounds of ammunition left. Unfortunately, we don't quite roll high enough to kill the KV-85, but he dives off the cliff and kills himself. We've only got 1 round left, and I'm really hoping what is in the cap doesn't have any HP. But this 1 round is important because we can reset the cap, and as you can see, I make sure I aim, and we reset the cap there and stop this Panzer V-4 from being able to fully complete the cap. But now we're awkward. We're out of ammo. We can't do anything else in this game. We're up to 4.2k damage with 217 assistance. And this 5-4 is determined to cap. I have to rely on my two teammates now to eliminate this 5-4. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm unspotted, because the 5-4 is blind, I'm going to keep myself in a position where I can keep this guy lit up. And hopefully, my team might be able to take, or what, the final two guys on my team, which is a Tier 1 Heavy and a Panzer 3-4, might be able to take a more advantageous position to shoot him while he's lit up by me. So they are coming charging in at K6 and 7. They are pretty healthy, but I think these two guys are probably going to struggle to pen a 5-4 if he's focusing them, because they will probably bounce off his upper plate. So we still have a tank, we still have HP. We're going to get in there and distract him, because this 5-4 could quite easily win this fight if he plays it right. Because the 5-4 is ridiculous. As you can see, he's focusing on the 3-4, and we just go and sit in front of him. It's like, hello, Mr. Panzer 5-4. I'm a light tank. Shoot me, bro, so you give my friends your ass. And thankfully, the tactic works. He focused on us to try and get shots into us. I couldn't do anything to shoot him, and my friends could, which meant that they could shut him down. And I finished the game with 8 kills, 4.2k damage, 217 assistance, Ace Tanker, Devastator, Radley Walters, High Caliber, Top Gun, the Defender Medal, 2.4k base XP, a really great game for the Rover 237. Absolutely fantastic Tier 6 light tank. It's just a lot of fun to play. A lot of people have it these days, but if it ever comes up to pick up, it's well worth picking up if you like light tanks. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.